Hello and welcome to this episode of Real Life and Real Love. I am your host, Sarah Michelle with Happiness and Heals, and this is Hayley Henderson, also hosting. Today we're going to be talking about, my mind just totally went blank as I said that. We're going to be talking about styling yourself for your first date.
Yeah.
Some do's and don'ts, some psychology behind the colors, not covers. And I guess, honestly, I'm going to let you lead here, Hayley, because this is your specialty as a stylist. So maybe you can give a little bit of an overview of what we're going to be going with today. But it'll be a little bit different style of an episode than we've had in the past. And it should be plenty of fun, lots of collaboration.
Yeah. So I know a lot of people can feel overwhelmed, and there is an emotional element to it. There is an emotional element to getting dressed anyway for a woman. But then when you throw in something like a potential life partner or a potential whatever kind of date, or you've just had this kind of day and you need to disconnect somehow and jump into this. And there's so much that goes into it. And I know a lot of women just look at their wardrobe or don't even open their wardrobe and just think, I don't know, just clothes work. Like, I just don't want to even think about this anymore. I just want to wear clothes and feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And that's essentially what you should do. So I was thinking about this just before. On a first date, I think it's important to, when you're looking at what you're going to wear, to gather yourself in terms of, who am I doing this for? You. You're doing the date for you. And what do you want to wear? Like, when you look at your wardrobe and you look at your clothes, or think about, like, if you're going for a coffee date, something nice and casual, what's casual for you, but you feel just like a little bit more like dressed up? Like, is it like a nice t-shirt with some nice fitting jeans where you feel your bum looks really good, and then you can throw on like a pair of like glitzy earrings? Like, is that the thing that would get you to the point where you're like, I'm comfortable, I feel like the occasion setting, but like a little bit like pretty? Like, they're like those little elements, I think, can be really important to remember. Guys and men, they are visual, but they're more in touch, like we talked about last week. They're more in touch with seeing if you're comfortable in your clothes.
Yeah, your energy.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people forget that element of knowing that, yes, he may want to see certain assets that you've got, like your feminine curves, etc. But if you're putting on a dress that's really uncomfortable for you, he's going to sit there and think, why would you do that? Like, men just think, I just don't get it. They're not used to having to wear clothes. I'm not saying we have to, but we do. They're not, used to being marketed to wearing clothes that don't fit them.
Yeah, comfort is my number one thing when I'm going on a first date. Later on in the relationship, when we've got to know each other and everything, I don't mind putting on an outfit. Usually it's not so much an outfit that makes me uncomfortable, but maybe like trying out some new heels that I'm not as comfortable walking in or something. I don't mind telling the person, like, hey, I really want to wear these out, but I'm kind of still practicing walking in them, and being fine with that. But on a first date, like, it's going to look awkward and, like, I want to say inauthentic. Like, they're going, okay, who is this person? It doesn't look like she's showing me who she really is.
Yeah. And some people will take it as like that uncomfortable or I want to say anxious, awkward pieces of you. That's not one word, that's two. Some men will take it as that's one, who you are, or two.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So
I'm just assuming, oh, she's weird.
Not necessarily, because sometimes it can be a reflection of who they are. Because a lot of men's interaction, well, this is what I believe. Like, if you watch Men in the Wild, like the supermarket and the cafe and stuff, they're gauging each other a lot. So they're gauging women, but they're more gauging men in the room. So they're naturally inclined to do that. And if you're the only focus, and for whether you're going on a casual date, like as in you don't know if you like this person, or it's more there's a potential relationship and you've had the discussion, even somebody that you've got to know over 2 or 3 weeks before you actually meet them, because you're the primary focus, it can come across as you're uncomfortable, anxious, awkward, all of those feelings. he may not register them as nothing to do with him as a person. It's more like who you're showing up as and like your outfit and your presentation and stuff, because we put so much emphasis on that, and there is no problems with that at all. But because we may feel that way, it can be registered as that's what you think of them. Like they don't, there isn't always a differentiation, because most of the time we don't go, hey, I feel really uncomfortable in this top. So, and because men don't naturally wear uncomfortable tops, it doesn't necessarily, like if you hang out with one of your girlfriends, she's going to be like, girl, why are you wearing that? I see you like constantly, you know, if you've got like a strap or a bra and you're constantly playing with it, your friend is going to recognize you shouldn't have worn that. You're uncomfortable and you're annoying me. Or shoes, like I've had to tell girlfriends off, we are not going out, you need to wear flats. Like I've got a girlfriend who cannot wear heels to save her life, and she has ruined so many nights out by she's like, I want to wear heels, and now I just don't let her, because you know, no, I'm not going to. I've like wasted an entire friend's engagement party driving her home so she could get put in shoes that I told her to put on in the first place, and then going back and everybody else was like gone, and we were like, oh yay, like party now. But men don't function from that place with their wardrobe. And because, you know, think about first dates, you're not the only one on the first date with this guy, he's also on a first date with you. So there's a lot of like two things from both sides, and he'll be reading, he'll be gauging, he's bringing whatever emotional content from the past, he's bringing whatever potential he may think about for the future and whatever discussions you've had, etc., etc. So like a lot is going on in just this face-to-face meeting. And if you're bringing uncomfortable straps, waist, I know a lot of people will wear like a high-waisted, like a belt or a dress or a top that ruches in or something around your stomach, but it feels uncomfortable, or you've eaten food and you feel bloated and then you put on some elastic or a belt around there. Just don't, because it's going to make you not the best version of yourself. And clothes can do that. Clothes literally are a communication. They are a tool, and they can be used to promote the best version of you. Like this is partly why men are just like, just wear track pants. I don't get it, because they get the best version of you, because that must be your comfortable clothes, unless you're me. I am not comfortable in casual clothes. And when I was younger, I actually had a guy I went on a date with say to me, I think it must have been like the third or fourth date, he was like, we went to the beach and I was wearing just like a shift dress and some nice like knee-high black boots, and he invited me to go to the beach. So I put on clothes that I'm happy with and I'm comfortable with, because I know that's not my number one rule. And I know if I get to the beach, I'll just take my boots off and I'm not getting in the water. And if I am, well, whatever, the dress can be washed. Everything's washable at the end of the day. And we were driving and we got to the beach and he was pulling a face, and I don't really know what was going on for him, but I was like, sweet, we're at the beach, like taking off my boots. And he's like, do you know what? I've just realized you're happy wearing whatever you're wearing. And it's not a, what did he call it? Like, he was thinking I was being difficult because he asked me to the beach and I was wearing like, I could have gone out to a club in what I was wearing. And he's like, I've fully just realized you're happy, you're comfortable, and you're willing to adapt your outfit to suit. I'm like, of course, I'm not going to wear casual clothes. And it was such a, like, we were laughing in that moment. Like, I took off my boots, we went to the beach, and it was fine. So sometimes, you know, he was thinking because I was dressed more than the occasion, and I hadn't mentioned it because, I don't know, whatever, suck it up for some people around me, that it wasn't me being difficult. He was sore. I was adapting to the situation. I was like, yeah, because I need to be my best self. And he was like, oh. And I was like, don't put me in track pants and think I'm going to show up happy. That's when you won't get me, the version you like the bright, happy, laughing, we'll talk about any topic version. And that's because my outfit is communicating with me, like how I feel. And men pick up on that. Like, he knew I was happy, but he also thought, is she being difficult? Because I've asked her to go somewhere and she's wearing something that's not occasional appropriate. And, this was like third or fourth day. So he didn't really know what I was doing. I was working, doing design work in fashion. And we hadn't super discussed what I do. He just knew I was tired all the time. I was tired because I worked really long hours. So a first date is super important to understand, like to feel comfortable and clothes that you love. And the man is going to be receptive to that. He's going to notice that. So in terms of probably what are good suggestions, as opposed to, wearing like a shift dress and boots to the beach, if you're not that level of confident in what you wear, it's super important to think about the environment you're going to be around. And I think you mentioned before about color psychology and like how color communicates different messages. So an easy way to remember, I think, is to refer back to the personal chakra system. So we have red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and then white, essentially clear, crystal, purity for your crown. And although some people talk about that being amethyst, which is purple, and that's another conversation. But what I think is important to remember is what each one of these energy centers represents for you, and is that something you want to communicate? So blue represents truth, and it represents being heard instead of being more of a teacher. Calm blue, like a baby blue, is very different to like a bold cold blue. So they both communicate a different kind of energy with the different tones. And if you were going somewhere to a concert, you probably wouldn't put on like something really flowy that you would wear to the beach. So if you think like, environment appropriate, and then think back, okay, so what kind of energy, one, do I want to get from myself? Like if I'm tired, what kind of energy do I want to evoke? Do I want like bouncy? Do I want like happy? Do I want more like sensual and seductive? And so you'd wear different colors for those things. So like yellow is going to be your seat of emotions, that's your solar plexus, and that's going to be your bouncy, happy kind of color. Pale yellow is like, I think of pastels and paler colors as a watered down version. So it's still going to produce a similar kind of result, but just less intensity. And if it's more of like an opaque color, it swings into something that's more white and pure. So that's what white represents. So white is cleanliness, godliness, holiness, purity. It's honesty, it's trustworthiness. It's like a blank slate. And men typically like white because that means you're a blank slate. I'm not gonna lie, they like that. They don't want anybody with baggage. I'm not saying you can't have it, because we all have it, but white communicates that you're pure, a blank slate, and available. Did you want to say something about that?
I was gonna say virginal for white as you were talking about it.
Basic.
Yeah. And I know like you do, I've seen quite a few of your TikToks out there with the psychology behind the different colors.
Yeah.
And I did forget about, my go-to is always red.
Yes.
Hot pink is a close second, just because I love hot pink and I feel comfortable in it. But red is my go-to. It makes me feel like I'm on stage. It makes me feel really like bold and confident.
Yeah.
So I love that. When you were talking about blue, though, I did think, I have a writing coach, and she always talks about writing in blue and then also wearing blue and using blue stones to help with communication. And that's something I hadn't thought of before you mentioned the psychology behind colors. Like if you struggle to communicate well, speak up, you get really shy on a first date or whatever, try out wearing blue.
Yeah. Like try to go for like if you're not familiar with colors, Google like primary colors. There's 3 shades of warm and 3 shades of cool, and you can work out like when you look at it, which one do you like the most? Which one's already in your wardrobe? I don't, unless you love new clothes, it's not always the best idea to wear brand new clothes on a first date. Like if you're super comfortable with that, but because what you want to go for is, who are you? Like, that's what we want. That's what he wants. He wants to be like, are we compatible? Do we think the same things? Do we have the same goals? Do I like her? It's basically the first question that they think of, like, straight out of the gate. Other stuff may not even come into it because he's too busy. Like, would we work together? Do I like her? And if you're one of those people who buys new clothes and feels uncomfortable, that's going to be communicated. But if you're one of those people who can totally vibe off brand new clothes and you're like, yes, I'm that girl, then that's probably something that you could consider without breaking the bank, because a first date is not worth breaking the bank over. And I know it's so silly, but sometimes I look at both sides and I think, you know, to the degree of this date and this setup and this person, how much effort are they going to go to? Like, are they coming straight out of work? Okay, me too. Like, there is, I think, 0 point in putting heaps of effort in and putting all your eggs in one basket if the other person's not, because it's an unbalanced energy and we can feel that. I'm not saying you don't put effort in, but I think it's like understanding. And also, when you think about that, you're also considering, you know, the type of person this person is, like what effort they put in or don't, or like, you know, life circumstances and compatibility from that regard. And this is just all for questions about your outfit. Like, there's so much that we can gauge on for what we can or can't, I was saying can't do, you can do whatever you want, but what we can do on like a first date. And so in terms of red and like really striking bright colors, red is your root chakra, and that represents your bloodline, your first entrance into this physical 3D reality. It communicates, for a lot of men, because it's been commercialized that way, it can communicate sexuality. But what it super actually communicates is power, which is related to your sexuality, which is, it's your first entrance into the world, which was created from sex. So it's like tied in, but it's not specifically pure about sexuality. It's just like a little bit all twisted together. Your sensual sexuality color is actually orange. And if you feel what I reckon, yeah.
I never think of sensuality when I see orange. That's so interesting.
So I know a lot of people don't. And what I often assign to clients, and even in like initial consultations with people, we'll talk about colors that they find like that resistance to, like, oh, I would never wear that. Can you have some homework? Because this is your body, this is life, and there is something about that color that is like either like you're hitting a wall, you're like, ugh, like I cannot wear brown. That was like my thing for a very long time. A lot of women though do have problems with red more than orange, because not everybody's exposed to orange, because orange is, okay, we have 3 primary colors. This is how this goes. 3 primary colors. Red is one of the primary colors. So it's one of the colors that from day dot we are exposed to everywhere. Orange is a secondary color. It's a mix of 2, like on the color wheel. If you look them up, there's like your 3, and then secondary is like second lot. It's a mix of 2. And then you've got your tertiary, which is a mix of others, and it goes out to be like more watered down. It's more like a plum as opposed to a purple, as opposed to that came from like red and blue. So like if you were mixing it on a paint palette, it's mixing all those colors together. So, and this is what I think, because orange is a secondary color. We are not primarily exposed to it. And that sounds so cheesy to sort of say it like that. But also, not a lot of people talk about this chakra and this color and this energy and how this relates to how we feel. Look at any woman who is wearing orange and look at how freaking confident she is.
I'm gonna have to go look that up after here. Like, I don't know, go to Pinterest and look up orange outfits or something. I'm like trying to think of when I've even.
Google it and have a look. So orange has been like in the last year-ish or so, it's been like for a mass market, like the average everyday color availability in clothes, it's become like a shelf normal, and a lot more people are wearing orange. And if you look at sort of the tone and what it evokes, and these are important to know when you look at your clothes before a first date, how does this make me feel? And how do I want to feel? And colors will do that. So like if you try and put on something and you're like, slightly repulsed by it, don't wear that. And for a lot of people, that could be yellow, orange, or red, which are your lower chakras. And that just, for me, that means that's homework. That's just something to like work on and have fun with. Don't do it on a first date unless you're really brave, because that poor soul sitting across from you, next to you, or wherever he is, isn't going to understand the emotional roller coaster you're moving through at this point. Like, what does he think of me? And like all of those other things.
I think that's a good point, is like not just picking out the first date outfit, but in between dates or right now until you get one set up or whatever, like just playing with the colors. I was part of a challenge one time where the stylist asked us each day of the week, she assigned a certain color to wear. And then you were supposed to kind of observe yourself throughout the day and check back in at the end of the day and give a review. And I usually don't wear yellow. And I happened to have this random yellow dress I had just bought at Goodwill. And it was during COVID, so we couldn't try anything on. And it didn't fit me super well when I got it. But it was the only yellow thing I had. And I did like the look of it. And I don't even know how far I made it into the day. I definitely did not make it the whole day. I got so freaking angry. And finally I realized, oh my God, it's the color I'm wearing because we were doing the challenge. I took that off, put on a different outfit, and I was good to go from that point on. But you really do have a very different experience in different colors. And that's changed over time.
It's because you also evolve too. We forget that. We forget what we once thought of or didn't even think of. Like when we were younger, like I've always been obsessed with clothes, but when I was younger, like even my daughter's age, she's 12, I would wear gray. Now, putting me in gray, I'll be like, do I have to? Because I know what that's going to do to me, because I've spent time feeling into each thing and how it makes me feel, and then I see the result. And this is what I encourage. Like when you open your wardrobe, like, what do I just like love? Like put those clothes on. What, like when you're lingerie shopping, so there are colors available in lingerie and lingerie sets. I know it can be tough to put them under clothes, like the straps and stuff show and things like that, but you're allowed to buy lingerie just to wear at home by yourself. And like in my house, we wear knickers, like lingerie knickers around the house if we want to. Like I've got a daughter and I want her to feel like she lives here. This is her house. Like once that door closed and nobody can see where we are, you can wear whatever you want. And I wanted to see what real bodies look like when they bend over and pick something up, or when they do different things. Like that's part of my plan for what that is. But with colored lingerie, you can, like if you're going somewhere, even to work, I do recommend this. Like if you've got to wear a uniform or something black, you can put red lingerie on underneath and all day be like, yeah, that's me underneath.
so naughty.
You can have that kind of feeling. Orange and yellow are going to evoke these more, because they are your lower chakras. You're going to feel more of those primary around your hips, below your waist. You'll actually feel those types of emotions. Whereas if you wear like green is your heart and blue is your throat, those ones aren't going to necessarily stir more sensual, sexual colors, because they're a different frequency and they produce different results. So, and this is why it's important, like, you know, going on a date, if you've struggled to communicate in the past, like you mentioned before, it's a good idea to wear blue and try it out. And do you know what? You can't do this wrong. You can actually say to your date, hey, I saw this random video and she recommended I wear orange, and I have this problem with orange, but I really wanted to step outside my comfort zone. And I thought, comfort zone on a first date doesn't exist, really. It's hard work. And I wanted to try it orange, and I wanted to get your feedback. Like it can create a conversation without it being pressure orientated. And if you are uncomfortable and you're admitting it, he's going to find that interesting, because a lot of women,
Vulnerable.
yeah, they won't admit that, and they won't admit it's related to their wardrobe or a color or I do find, like, I mean, I know I'm privy to information because what I do and the space I hold. So women do give me private information about outfits and colors and how they feel, but typically we don't go around telling other people. So there's like this little bit of a mask assumption, especially by men. We know what we're doing. We don't. we're just trying stuff sometimes. And you're allowed to say that. You're allowed to be like, okay.
It's playful and feminine though, so that's great for the women who probably are watching this anyway, wanting to attract masculine men. They love that.
Yeah. And then you can get more, like once you get to the color side of it and you can decide or not decide, then you can look at styles and what that makes you feel. So if you feel more comfortable wearing a double strap bra, like, well, two strap, which is not double strap, as opposed to like a one shoulder or something like that, these are things to consider. And then the styles that sort of go with that. So me, myself, I struggle in strapless bras. So if I went on a date with like a top strapless top or like a one shoulder and I was wearing like a strapless bra, I'm probably going to sit there the whole time and be like, are they falling down? I should pick this up. Oh my God, I feel uncomfortable. Can you tell how low my boobs are right now? Like there'd be this internal dialogue the whole time. So that
Yeah.
is going to dictate my style. So there's like the color element that you can consider. And like none of this is mandatory, obviously. This is just because you can. And then style wise, there are things that I may or may not wear. And I know a lot of clients may or may not wear. Like sometimes you feel more sexy with like one shoulder like revealed or both shoulders, like because it can feel like, yes, I have shoulders. And especially if you work in an environment where you're wearing a lot of clothes or layers or like stuff something up to your neck and you want to just be like free and you feel like that, because one, it's going to put you in those feels, and putting you in those feels around a man that you're interested in and want to get to know, it puts him in those feels because you're in those feels. So like it gives you that, and that's just based on if you wanted to wear something on or off your shoulder. Like that's how powerful clothes can be for like our communication and how we feel about it, but also how it involves the other person. And that is not even talking about how what is considered sexy or not. This is just how you feel, and that's how powerful that is. And that's like the color and just your shoulders, let alone if you wanted to wear something low cut or high cut, or like if you want to wear bell sleeves because you feel uncomfortable with your arms, or if you want to wear long sleeve because you're a fidgeter and you want to just play with the end of your sleeve so that you're not like playing with your nails and he thinks you know something like whatever is the thing, you can plan your outfit. You can test it as well. So like you could test it around male family members, you could test it around like ask them for feedback because they're going to have like a feedback system like a potential date would, or around work colleagues, or wear it to work and be like asking your girlfriends or work colleagues like, this is my plan, this is what I want to wear, I want to make a really great first impression, I've struggled, you know, when you've come out of a long-term relationship like a lot of us have, and stepping into dating again is like, nah.
Well, and how many of us have been with men who have had too much to say in what we're wearing and been a little too open about their opinions? So then you move forward. I know I came out of a relationship at one point where he never wanted my breast showing. And I didn't even like, it was kind of this gradual thing. And I didn't quite notice it until I had come out of the relationship. And I love boobs. Like, I love boobs on me, anyone else. Like, I think they're very feminine and I don't really care the size and stuff. So, I wanted to start showing more that. It took a while for me to. I remember at one point dating someone new and him really wanting me to wear a low cut top. And I went and I bought a low cut top to go out to this event with him. And like, I wouldn't take my jacket off. It took me a long time to take my jacket off. And then once I took my jacket off, he wouldn't stop staring. And so then I was really uncomfortable. Now I wear that shirt like to pick my kids up from school because I'm like, oh, I got this, you know, like this is normal. It's okay. They're not going to fall out, whatever, all this stuff. But yeah, I mean, sometimes it's not even truly our own inner dialogue. It's the voice of a past lover, even the voice of like parents or a friend or something like that. If you have someone, or at least I'm speaking for myself, when you have a friend around you who's like constantly nitpicking on her stomach, it makes you more aware of your stomach.
Yes.
Or if they're constantly nitpicking whatever part of their body, right? It makes you more aware of your own. And so that dialogue can be playing in there too. But I have personally found, and you can speak to this too, that most men really don't care very much about our bodies. If we show up energetically confident and feeling our best, they pick up on that more than anything else.
A lot. And at the end of the day, like, a guy who's going to be your potential partner, or even just like a 10 dates, like, there's zero pressure for it to be permanent. Like, you may just date this guy 10 times and have a great experience, like getting out there, doing things. Obviously, you'll have the conversation with him, communication's important, that, that you're just dating, like you're not winning a relationship, and see if they're okay. But it's such an opportunity to explore, and you get to use your body and have communication and wear clothes and figure out what it communicates or it doesn't, and be okay with that. Like, I'm a small person. You can see I'm like tiny, but
Mhm.
my relationship with my baby daddy, he was disgusted with my body. He was disgusted specifically with my stomach, so, and my breasts. And so I have these, like, and it just even like shortens my breast thinking about it. Like, I get really anxious and nervous about it. And I've been working through it specifically with my stomach and my breast for like the last, compounded because I started doing dancing. And so obviously you wear clothes where you can see stuff. And I'm like, ah. And and it's interesting because women will give you feedback, like, they'll think you've got it sorted because they don't know the internal dialogue of what's going on. I had a woman this week. We did this show, and I like ran off the stage, and I like sat down, and she goes, "Sis, are you okay?" And I was like, and I realized in this moment, this is the first time I've ever gained such a simple answer with acknowledging her and not dismissing myself. And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm just a really anxious person." She was like, "Oh girl, why?" And we've just had this like interesting dialogue and conversation together. It's the first time I've been able to do that and acknowledge that. So it's important to, I think, be okay with what it is you're working through, and sometimes find a language that communicates what's going on for you, and having these open conversations with people, because people will make assumptions about you. And I think in your life, you're allowed to have a dialogue with that and have a communication, and you're allowed to have the experience that you've had. And sometimes we're two different people, and this is the thing, like, that we struggle with sometimes on first dates, because we're bringing this like inner dialogue and all the things we've been through, especially like in that past relationship, especially as like a mom with a mom's body, or whatever is the thing that is going on for us internally. And we're bringing that to a man who is visual but emotionally perceptive, and it can be like this really interesting mix of signals. So when you look in the mirror versus when somebody else looks at you, they can be two completely different things. People can say to you, "Oh, but you have a beautiful hourglass figure." But we may be like, "Oh my God, I have too much." Like, there's those elements to it. And so, one, this is why it's important to dress how you feel your best. And two, you can use color and style to that advantage. Like, if you feel uncomfortable with like your stomach or your hips or your arms, which are common places for women, wear something that doesn't show those off. Like, you can wear a belt, you can wear a one-shouldered bell sleeve, you can wear a jacket that's like makes you feel amazing. Like, I think long line jackets, or like a cute crop jacket, they give you that feeling. Anything that's like mid waist is like, yeah, it's just a jacket. So like a long line one is going to be like long, maybe down to your knees. And you can wear something like that, a long line cardigan or a jacket, over a cute little like LBD, like a cute little black dress. You can wear a long thing over it, and it adds a layer, it adds an element, it adds like I could take this off, but I may not. Like, it adds like that fun and that mystery to it, while making you feel safe and secure, because it's a long line, it's going to elongate you, it's going to cover the areas that you want. You're going to feel confident and comfortable with the potential to do more. And you're wearing something that you also definitely would like to step into the frequency of wearing a little black dress, but you're not quite ready to be like, what if you see my bum? What, like, with a long line jacket on, or a cardi or something that's like a long line house coat or something that you, whatever you call it, it doesn't matter. As long as it's got that long line to it, it's that element of I could do both. If you wear a cropped jacket, it's cute. It's like something that's like about here, like your bra line-ish. And it may have like a collar that you can pop. It may have like long sleeves, and it's going to be like a different composition feel. Like when you put these two clothes on, and this is what I encourage, open your wardrobe and put clothes on. You can take photos, you can write notes, you can be like, okay, so a white represents purity. What have I got? A white shirt. Ooh, I've got some white pants. Ooh, I have a white dress. And like put them on and be like, does this feel like how I want to feel on a first date? You might be like, no, this is too corporate, too worky. I want to get this off. You may be like, okay, red. Okay, red is meant to be powerful and sexual. How do I feel putting it on? And then if you put on a red jacket, you might be like, I feel like heavy and yucky and, you know, I don't feel right. But you may put on like a pair of like red jeans or like some red shorts and be like, oh, these have got the thing. And then if you wanted to add in, if you were already a print, stuff that goes really super well with red is often stripes and like an animal print. Like it gives you that edge. Like if you're going to go for red, go for edge, like if you want to. And then it'll just like pop. And you're going to be like, I am the edge. Yeah, I am the edge. Let's go on this date. You know, you can write that down and remember. And if you take photos, I mean, there's so many ways that you can explore clothes. I have heard so much, but taking photos daily of outfits that you like, or taking like going through your wardrobe and doing like a bit of an audit and putting on outfits and trying different things and taking photos of the ones that you like to, so you don't have to remember. Because not everybody's going to wake up in the morning and be like, I know how to do this. You may wake up in the morning and be like, I want to feel hot today. I don't know. Like sometimes we don't have time. But if you've taken photos or written notes, like, yes, there's an investment, but you're worth the investment of time. Like you've already bought the clothes. You know how you want to feel. If you're not feeling that frequency and daily or going on a first date, you're worth spending that like 1 hour, 2 hours, 5 hours going through what you already own. Yeah, I would do 5 hours.
Yeah, I think you would. I would never do that.
It went and grabbed a glass of wine, like make it fun. Invite girlfriends over. Like this is, you know, with
Can we
girlfriends.
talk about that real quick?
Yeah.
Because maybe there's women out here that are feeling the same way I feel. Like you said, do it and make it feel fun. I can't think of a single moment in my life where, okay, never mind. Maybe wedding dress shopping. But like, this feels like a task to me. It doesn't feel fun. And it feels like taking it on and off and getting hot and cold and like I feel all grumpy even just thinking about it. Usually when I go and I need to put an outfit together, I do not have this fun, playful thing that you've got going on here. I'm just like, what's comfortable? Throw it on me and let's go because it's frustrating.
Yeah, definitely. But also remembering if you've come out of a relationship and you're wanting to step into a new one, or if you're wanting to go on dates, this is an opportunity for you to do new. This is an opportunity for you to heal in a new way. This is an opportunity for you to meet your body where it's at with the clothes that already exist. And I know that it's not necessarily as fun. That's why I say make it fun. Get a glass of wine, like get a coffee. Like in the mornings when I get dressed, I get my coffee often. So many times in the past when I'm like, I do not know what to wear, I sit, grab my coffee, I look at my wardrobe, open it, and I sit in front of it, and I'm like, clothes come to me. Like I've got to go. I'm really busy. I need clothes that are just gonna like inspire me, and I'll just go, okay, that skirt and that top. Have I ever put that on together? And I'll just try on. If it doesn't work, there's no loss. If you're doing like an evening thing or you're getting ready for a first date and you really want to make a good impression and you're, you know, listening to something like this, why not make it as fun as possible? Ask a girlfriend, ask your brother, ask whoever is going to be like, yes, let's get some clothes on, let's have some fun. Like, let's
I have a good story for you. I dress my kids in the morning, kind of. Okay. So my kids are 7 and 9, but they like me to help them get dressed. So what they do is they typically lay in bed and then I stand in their closet and I'm like, this one or this one? The weather's gonna be, and whatever. And they like to pick it out together and then I'll throw it at them and they put it on. Well, I had just helped both my kids this morning and I had gotten out of the shower. I'm back in my room and I don't have the door shut and I'm just standing like naked in front of my closet, completely frustrated. And my 9-year-old daughter comes walking by and she's like, her personality has just like bubbled in the last half a year or so. And she goes walking by to the bathroom, and then all of a sudden you see her like double take, like check back at me. And I look at her and I'm like, what? And she just kind of gives me these funky eyes. And I said, hey, you know how you get frustrated getting dressed in the morning? I said, I do too. Like, standing in front of my closet, I don't know what to wear today. And she comes walking in. She's like, I'll help you then, Mom. And she's like, what are we doing today? And I was like, well, I have this doctor's appointment, blah, blah, blah. And I tell her about it and how I'm going to be uncomfortable and how I already know I need to dress down for part of it and stuff like that. I was like, but then I'm recording this show with Haley for YouTube. So I kind of want to be dressier for that and stuff. And she's like, okay. So what we're going for is nervous. And I was like, no, I do not want to communicate nervous with my clothing. But anyway, she ended up trying to pick some stuff out, but she's like super conservative compared to me. She doesn't like me to show anything and she doesn't like me to be flashy and she doesn't like to do it for herself. So everything I was picking out, she was like, no, that's got lace on your back. And I was like, it'll be fine. Think it'll be okay if there's lace on my back. But anyway, I had a lot of fun dressing with her this morning.
Yeah.
We didn't pick this out. I picked this out later. We ended up going with one outfit for the doctor's office and one outfit for now.
Yeah. Well, that's how much fun you can have. Like, it doesn't need to be, like you say, like you're sitting there and like feeling overwhelmed, and like that you can invite other people in. You can be like, all right, girl, like to your one of your girlfriends, I'm gonna video call you and I just need your opinion for 5 minutes. You can send them pictures. I do this stuff and I know what I'm doing. I just need that confirmation that I'm not crazy with this outfit. I'm like, this is appropriate, right? Like, the amount of times I've gone to my daughter and gone, it works, doesn't it? Doesn't it? The color is popping, and it's like an outfit yesterday. I asked her because it was like a high zip, and I was like, "Can you see this up?" And she's like, "Yeah, that outfit definitely works." Like, I didn't even ask her because we've got the standard on it, and she's like, "Yeah, the color in the dress is definitely being drawn out by the color on the jacket." And like, even when she's 2 or 3, she'd like roll out of her room sometimes, and she's like, "Dressed for the day," and she's like matched all her outfit. She's matched her socks with her bag, with her belt. Like, she's put, like, really understood the assignment in terms of like what is a matching item and color matching and coordinating. And that's because I got over it time and time and time again, which just gives you like an interesting matching skill. But anyway, you can say that to other people. You can be like, I'm struggling with this, but this is my goal. Often people are more than happy to help you get ready for a first date. There's something about first dates that gets everybody excited, and it's hard because it can feel like pressure. But if you can set yourself up and know that you're stepping out of the past relationships and the person you've been in the past, we're stepping into a new version of ourselves, and clothes can help that. So when you go shopping, like, I even used to set myself some really weird, funky assignments. So when you're working in design work and we have such high paced expectations, and you've got to like get stuck into this season, and then you've got a new season to get stuck into, and currently the weather is complete opposite to what you're designing, so you need to get your brain in the headspace. And so I would often give myself assignments like, every time I go into a footwear store, I need to try on the ugliest shoes. Like, I need to do things that get my brain out of the same gear that it has been in for like just today or the last week or this season that I'm working on. And I need to do like things. And it does it. That's like those pattern interrupts. So the person that you were in the past, you probably don't want to attract the same relationship. And you probably a new version of yourself. And like, girl, you're allowed to. You're allowed to wear whatever you want, like specific, obviously covering certain pieces, but you can wear whatever you want. And if somebody tells you you're doing it wrong, so what? It actually is completely irrelevant, that person's judgment, if you feel happy and comfortable. And if you put on a beautiful outfit you're happy with, you've gone to the degree of choosing colors, looking at styles, processing through everything. And if the man in front of you doesn't appreciate that, he doesn't appreciate you. And it just gives you the information you need. And it's no more than that. Like, that's who he is. And we need to be okay with that. We need to be okay with who I'm showing up as is perfect. And if he doesn't, then bye.
That's confidence. You know, like I will work with women who don't feel confident. And I'm like, that's what it is. It's the detachment from needing someone else's approval.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily an easy thing when you've grown up seeking other people's approval, even if you don't realize it.
Yeah.
But it like clicks because like people will talk about, and you've mentioned it a few times about how sometimes people are anxious and nervous about first dates and it's a lot. And like for me, first dates are like super fun. I don't have a problem at all. I've had to work my way to that point. It's not the way I started with my first date after my divorce, you know, to just be like, here I am, like it or leave it. Like, but now I am, and I don't take it personally either because I've shown up enough times on a first date and been like, how am I going to say this to him? Like, I know he's a nice guy and I can see that he checks off these boxes, but something isn't clicking here, or I don't like this. And I know that's going to be an issue long term, like whatever. They're doing the same thing with you. And it's not meant to be offensive. It's not meant to be a rejection. It's just meant to say, hey, let's not waste each other's time.
Yeah.
Let's not hurt each other's feelings. Let's go find someone we're more compatible with.
Yeah,
and I think that really gives you a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
I know that's helped me a ton. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. Well, so I tell people that I'm a nervous person on a first date. I've never used that word anxious before because it's only something that I'm recently getting better with. But I will tell you, like, if we were going on a first date, I'd be like, I am a nervous person on a first date. And it's nothing like the person that, like, if it's from like online dating we haven't met before, or if it's somebody that we then organize like a more formal date, I'm like, just so you know, I'm going to be nervous. I'll probably knock over the salt, spill my drink, trip over. It's just who I am at that point. And the person that you're telling is often
so bad.
They just like, oh, really? Or I know that I look super awkward in some situations. And often because, you know, guys are nice or people are nice, they're like, oh, can I carry that for you? And it's actually not heavy. I'm just an awkward person. And the other times they nearly like laugh and fall over, like, really? And I'm like, yeah. I know what I'm bringing to the table, and I'll just call it because then I can just carry on. Like those things, like when you call that on yourself and you say that to a man, they just go, all right. They're not necessarily ready for it, but they'll appreciate that. And then when you do something really spastic on a first date, they just sort of like, all right. Or, you know, if I say, like, so this is strange. When I have a first date with a guy, typically before we've gone on a date, it comes out what I do for a living. And to some people, it becomes completely obvious. I like something about clothes or color. And so they'll often ask me for tips for what they're going to wear on the first date with me. And I'm like, I don't know, whatever you want. But that's never been, been the helpful answer. So I literally have basically every date I've been on with a guy had to talk to them about their outfit before we meet.
Really?
Yeah. So I completely.
That has to be because of what you do. I have never talked to a man about his outfit.
And men are not afraid to say, so does that mean like I've got to like wear a suit on a first date? And I was like, only if we're going somewhere where you would wear a suit, or if you typically would. And so I literally talk through almost every single one on the first date, before the first date, what to wear. I don't dress them as such, that comes later, but they'll feel potentially intimidated and they don't want to let their wardrobe, because it's my focus point, be the reason why they don't make a good impression. And I don't see why, if men can do that, why we can't.
Okay, so I totally want to say something coachy related to what you said about showing up nervous. But what I want to ask you first is, oh, and we're close on time anyway, so that you can use that as your escape too. Do you want to talk about that here, or would you like to talk about it like me and you, and then come back and share it on a future episode if we want to?
Yeah, we can do a future episode about it.
Okay, let's do that. Because something like as you were saying it, I was like, oh, I totally want to explore that more. So I'll make a note about that while you're kind of finishing up and wrapping up with anything you want
Yeah,
to share about style.
I
And
know
we'll
that
do-
given like specific outfits, and I know a lot of people want to come to a show like this and be like, okay, cool, tell me what to wear. And I, one, don't work like that, and two, I don't think we work like that, because that puts you in an uncomfortable position. But basic outfits are outfits you already wear, like a nice t-shirt and a shirt with a pair of comfortable jeans or shorts, environment appropriate clothes that you already own, or clothes that you aspire to buy, because you are stepping into this new frequency of you in this relationship. If there is something that you aspire to buy, this could be the reason. I've gone and bought a dress. I've seen it online heaps. And then I was going on a date and I was like, I'm going to buy it for the date. Oh my God, I have a reason. And it wasn't expensive. It was $60. It was like, really cheap considering. And I just was like, oh my God, yes, I'm wearing this on the date. Like, I was really, because it has like these flowy sleeves and stuff. And I felt like super cute, and I was like, yes, like it's everything I wanted. And so, you're allowed to do that, like buy new things if you want to step into that frequency. You're allowed to go through your wardrobe and try on things. You're allowed to get rid of pieces that bring in emotions that don't hold the frequency that you want. Like they're tied up in the past with like an experience with your ex or being a mom or something. Just let those clothes go. Somebody else can have them. Give them to charity. If they're really bad, they can be rags, right? Because we're not putting anything in landfill. And other, items that people typically wear is wear a dress on a date if you want. Wear a dress that suits like your shoulder and neckline, how you feel your best, what makes you feel sexy. Look at colors that make you feel your best and make you feel sexy. Typically, we don't by default feel sexy in purple. It is recommended to do your lower chakras, because that's what it engages in you. It engages literally your hip region, and that's how you feel. Definitely explore and play with orange and anything orange, like a top, a singlet, a dress. I bought this beautiful orange dress for a friend's party that we're going to on a yacht, and everybody was like, wow, that is an impressive dress. And I was like, $24. I was like, should I tell you all I'm wearing it backwards? Like, everybody was like, what do you mean? And I was like, it's because I understand the cut of it. I was like, I put it on and I didn't like which side, because it was one shouldered. I didn't like which side it was. And I was like, I swear I could turn this backwards if I take the label out. So I was wearing it like backwards, and it was like one of the cheapest dresses I own. But because I had worked on my orange frequency and stepped into that, I was like, yeah, this is me. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, do you have anything else you want to share before I close out?
Well, you can always get in contact with either one of us with anything that. Yeah, no, you can get in contact with us for anything that we've discussed. Like, we do two different types of businesses, and we have two different ways that we come at the world, but we do come from a place of feminine sensuality, sexuality, empowerment, confidence. Your tools are different to my tools. Yours are specifically with dating and sex and relationship, whereas I work with clothes as a tool and a vehicle for like literally what we wear, but also to communicate and have the life that we want. Because our dating and relationships and sex life and our clothing and our style, they're core pieces of who we are as a person. And if you resonate with anything we said, like, drop a comment below, get in contact with us, definitely like the video.
There you go. Yeah, and I should say, I probably should have said this way earlier, but I'm in the US and Haley is in Australia. But she has been helping me style since, oh, I think maybe the first time we did it was 2017, maybe 2016. So if you're worried about the fact that it won't be in person, it'll be over Zoom, like it still totally works. Uh, because we've done that. We've done that with my closet. And we started with more of almost like, I don't know if you'd call it this, but more of like a feng shui approach. It was more about like cleaning up the energy of the space so that I don't know if you remember this, but when you first started working with me, I had a walk-in closet at that point, and I didn't even want to go into my closet. I had so much resistance to like just fuck it. Like, so
That's the beauty of also doing like a video call, because sometimes it can feel really close and intimidating to invite somebody to your house and into your wardrobe, and what if you've got a pair of knickers where they shouldn't be. But if you're on a video call, it actually opens the door for you to get the help you would like, and to step into that frequency without feeling like you have to invite somebody into your home. Like, I can only see whatever is like in the lens of the camera, and that works to your advantage, where you're like, do not look at that pile over there, and if you don't tell me, I can't see it, and it doesn't affect any of the work that we do. And you're like, sweet, didn't have to clean the pile.
yeah. Yep. So it has been a good experience. You've done it many times. And for different things. Like some of it early on was just me feeling too trapped by being mom in that role. And photo shoots and stuff like that, like everything from that point forward. So yeah, highly recommend working with you. I'm actually working with you right now for a photo shoot, aren't I? So yes, definitely. Well, thank you for joining us on our episode today. We hope you enjoyed it. Definitely share some pictures in the comments of your favorite first date outfits you're looking to try out, anything like that. We'd love to help. Well, more Hayley would love to help. I'll just be an observer on this one. This one's your forte. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel.